You're now listening to episode 64 of Signed In, an Xbox 360 podcast, recorded on March 6th, 2011. Find us online at signedinpodcast.com. Welcome back to Signed In. I am Jeremy Superfro 33.
I'm Craig Propdresser.
And I'm Sean Shonix.
How is everybody?
I've let you guys down. I haven't played many games in the past 2 weeks.
I don't think most of us have played many games in the past 2 weeks.
It was a rough 2 weeks.
Should we just go?
I tried.
We're
done. Okay.
We should just
Thank you for listening.
Signedinpodcast.com. That is our website. You can email us at comments@signedinpodcast.com.
Suggestions on what should we play, maybe.
Next episode. I don't know what we'll talk about. All right.
What we do.
Soupcast.
Thanks, everybody.
Soupcast will be taking over next.
Soupcast is back.
Anyway, no.
No, I tried some games. I played some demos of things. I just didn't really, other than some Rock Band to relax, I didn't really sit down and play anything lengthy.
Why so?
Just busy. Just really busy this week.
I felt really unmotivated in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
I've been passing out at 8:30 a lot of nights.
I've been going to bed
and
early too.
Then waking up at 11:30 and staying up for 2 hours and then going to bed.
I also had a problem where my wife left town for a week.
Right.
And so we watch a lot of television.
How's that a problem?
Do you want a rim shot there?
Hey.
Exactly. So
Take my wife, please.
So we watch a lot of TV. So now that she's been back, I have even multiple days where I haven't even turned my Xbox on, which is no good.
It's all her fault.
I had all these grandiose things of oh yeah, the wife's leaving town.
Yeah,
I'm gonna just fucking play video games nonstop. And then I sit there and I'm on the computer and my dog's next to me and I don't want to move and I'm unmotivated and I'm bored and I'm really just lonely is what I was.
You were pouting.
The whores can only do so much.
Right.
Then they go away. I'm joking.
Wow.
You can get them for the whole weekend.
Yes, you can.
Bargain rates in the Midwest.
Oh, especially in the winter,
Package
off
deals.
season. Off season, they need places to stay.
But they put quotation marks around package.
Yes, completely. But I did play some games still. I just didn't play as much as I wanted to or that I thought I was going to. So I'm going to try and rectify that in the next couple of weeks.
You do that.
We'll see. But we do have some games to talk about.
Yes, I've got a smattering of indie games and then some. I tried out all the XBLA demos that came out, and I got two full-fledged demos for Dragon Age 2 and Lego Star Wars 3: The Clone Wars.
Nice. Yeah, I'm excited to talk about that one.
I'm glad you guys played those because I didn't.
A couple of XBLA demos, and I learned how to talk in the 2 weeks.
No, you didn't. Obviously,
some Bulletstorm in there. So
I played Bulletstorm.
Yep.
I played the Bejeweled Blitz live that came out, and I've been playing a little bit of Torchlight.
Oh.
That comes out next week.
Oh.
Sorry, fancy, I know.
Fancy.
That's another one where it's oh yeah, I can play a bunch of this, and then I didn't because
you fail.
I am a loser.
I am very disappointed.
I played it. Here's the thing, I kind of crammed on it a little bit last night.
Yeah,
and then I was I don't want to stop.
Well, that's good.
But I hadn't touched it in a week, and that was bad because I wanted to, and I just didn't get around to it.
I also failed on the DLC for Dead Space 2. That came out.
Yeah, I read
chapters.
But I read that there was somebody had posted.
I played that
on our message. We had some people posting on our message board that it had that problem with those achievement things where they weren't loaded on the live system. Whatever goes wrong, where if you unlock them and then you don't get credit for them, like you had with Enslaved.
Yeah.
And so I'm waiting for that to be rectified and fixed before I mess around with getting the DLC.
I just didn't play it.
Did you get it?
No.
Okay.
I didn't get it yet because I just haven't been in the games.
That's why I held off specifically for it.
I didn't.
You just
I didn't hold
care.
off for any specific reason. I was just too lazy.
All right. Well, how about we talk?
I'm too lazy to play video games. What does that say?
I know.
Yeah, it's pretty weird.
This is like a part-time. I'm moonlighting here. This is a part-time job.
Right, but trust us, you should still care about us, right? At home.
Yeah,
because we're kind of giving a bad impression.
No.
Oh, we're doing a game show. We're doing a show about video games. We don't care about any video games right now.
everybody has those off weeks.
That's true. That's true.
I want to thank all the people tuning into my YouTube account and checking me fail on my
all of Sean's fail
on my
videos.
Uprising.
Did you ever get past it?
Yes, I did. There's a success video on there,
Nice.
So it worked out. But it took me buying a triple jump and catching the laser at the right time, and then it was like I own that guy.
We'll
all
talk
of a
about it a
sudden.
little
Yeah,
bit because
yeah.
I purchased the game and
Yeah,
I haven't gotten to play
sweet.
as much as I want to, but I've gotten a little bit in on it. So.
Awesome.
Cool.
But let's start with indie games. How about that?
Yeah.
Before we actually talk about some indie games that we're talking about for the first time, I just wanted to mention I finally beat Pixel Whirled.
Congratulations.
Yes, and then you beat it once, and then your characters move faster, so it's actually easier.
Oh,
and then
nice.
you go, and then I beat it a second time, and it unlocks alternate characters to play through. With
That's
it.
awesome.
So yes, very cool.
I still have never beat that game.
It took me a while. It's the continues helped out a lot because they did that update
Yes,
that
yes.
gave it continues and stuff like that, and that helped out a ton. And it turns out that level I kept getting stuck on, World 8 or whatever, that was the last one.
There you
Nice.
Of course it was.
That's awesome.
Well, it's good because that's been a while that we've had that game. So.
Yeah, it has. Yeah.
congrats.
Well, I was playing the Hurdle Turtle track pack, and then I'm like, I should play some Pixel World.
There you go.
And I busted that out. Yeah, so I finally beat it. I was so happy.
Congrats,
Sweet.
sir.
Sweet.
Thanks.
And you didn't say you achieved anything.
That's right. Good point.
Or maybe
Well,
that was
I did that, and I'm like, I'm just gonna sit on my laurels the rest
That's what
of
I'm
the
saying.
2
You reached. It's like, well, I reached the pinnacle. Now what?
There's nothing better.
It's like fucking on top of Everest. You don't look out at the other mountains and be like, ah,
Well, I guess I'll climb those lower ones now.
exactly.
But I did try out.
Pixel World, the Mount Everest of video
I
games.
did try out a lot of other indie games. One that's been out for a little while now. Commander World 1, and this is a tower defense game, sells for 80 points, I believe. And I had actually avoided this at first. I liked the style of it. I looked at screenshots. I liked the style of it. It's a very blocky, pixelated look, and it's like in space, and you have planets, and I don't know. But the thing is I couldn't tell what was going on just by looking at the screenshots, and I'm like, that looks like it might be complicated or difficult for me to figure out. But there was recently like some list of like 30 best, quote unquote, best indie games, that was voted on by a small group of people or whatever, and that was on there, and I'm like, I should, and it had a trailer, and I watched the trailer, and so I actually got to see some of the gameplay, and I'm like, I should check that out, and so I played it. It's a tower defense game, like I said, and so you're basically protecting the moons surrounding this one planet from this line of asteroids that will come, and there's a path. But the really neat thing about and you can set up like turrets around these other planets that are along the way.
Okay.
And you can upgrade the turrets and whatever. But the really neat thing about it is that, unlike other tower defense games, the line of attack, you can see it, but it's always changing because the planets are shifting around. And so it's really quite fun because, at first I set up my I upgraded a bunch of turrets early in the track to just kind of beat them up, and then had smaller turrets along the way to kind of
Clean up.
Yeah. But then things had orbited so much that actually the final planet was like further or closer on the beginning of the track, and so I upgraded those turrets instead, so then they became my front line, and so I can see that becoming a really neat sort of element in there as you think, I've got my defenses set up, but then all of a sudden the planets orbit, and suddenly the track kind of flips over to another
That's
set
nice.
of planets, and you have to re-strategize. And it's got it plays classical music as it's going on. It's very mellow and kind of cool like that, and a really cool pixelated retro look to it, and I liked it a lot actually. And for 80 points, that's a really good deal.
Awesome.
And I don't
Sounds
normally
good.
like tower defense very much.
Yeah, I like the idea of it changing up.
Yeah.
That it has, it keeps you on your toes as far as, because sometimes with those tower defense games, they do change like some of the entry points.
Yeah, they'll come from a different entry point.
But usually it's the same kind of thing over and over. Or I've played ones that it's just the coming down that same path.
Yeah.
And so once you set up something, really you're only
just sit
changing
there.
the kinds of, weapons,
Yeah.
but you have your plan of attack always the same. So that sounds interesting.
Yeah, I definitely recommend checking out.
Cool. I tried Wizard's Keep.
Yes.
And I know you tried that.
Wizard's Keep.
It's 80 points from Robber, I'm assuming.
This is the folks who did Minor Dig Deep, which is a very popular indie game.
Yep. 1 to 2 player co-op local, which I thought was pretty sweet.
That was
and
cool.
it's a dungeon crawler. The graphics are pretty sweet. It's just a classic over the top look, but a lot of cleaner, smoother, almost almost like cartoony, like
yeah, a little cartoony, a little children's book like.
Yeah, there you go.
If you played Miner Dig Deep, it's a very similar sort of style. So the dude is kind of rotund and roundish, and all of that.
Game style is really. I thought the movement was really smooth, really easy to figure out what's going on. A lot of helpful hints throughout the game.
Yes.
In case you have any problem. There's like a heavy attack, which is the B button. You kind of like get your sword like powered up.
Yeah, you have to charge it.
Yep, and then you have what I think it's A is a regular attack.
Yeah, combos.
Yep, and then you have your shield, which you pick up, and that's pretty cool. I really enjoyed the look of it.
Yeah, the animation was really smooth, and the combat was what was fun for me because enemies come onto the screen and you can target them holding left trigger, and that will kind of guide your character so he's always kind of pointing in the right direction. And that's also nice because later on, as I was backtracking through an area, like I had goblins behind trees, and I'm like, I don't see these guys, but the target would still appear there, and so cool. I knew where they were, and I knew kind of where I was as well. And but what's really neat is it's very active combat, and so you have the shield, but you can't just hold out the shield and fight the entire time or whatever. Like you see an exclamation point appear above the enemy's head, and you can lift the shield to block that attack or whatever. And sometimes your attacks will stun them and knock them back, and you can back up as move back and forth as you're attacking. And so I liked that active sort of combat in there. And then it's got upgrades as you level up.
Yeah, so you get to pick between like just speed or fighting or like sword play. You can like add like a spin move attack and things like that.
Yeah. And so it was definitely
picking up gold,
definitely very good. Yeah,
keys, classic
gold,
stuff. Yeah,
amethysts, stuff like that. And so very nice. I think it was 80 points.
80 points.
Yeah, it was 80 points. And so definitely worth checking out if you like those kinds of games.
I didn't even notice that it was a 2-player until I was writing notes up for it, and I'm like, it's 2-player. I think that's really neat for a local 2-player dungeon crawler like that. Yeah,
that would be
so
fun.
Did you just go level to level? Is that what happens?
Well, I guess so. You kind of,
you're kind of like out in the
I didn't
woods.
finish the first level in the 8 minutes I was playing.
Yeah, so. I'm pretty sure I'm going to buy it. I just haven't bought it. I just played through the time twice on it. But
gotcha.
because you're in like an open world, and then you go into one of the dungeons, and then that had a couple levels to it that I got through. I didn't even get through it completely, but then you could get keys that opens other doors throughout the map. So. You're like kind of, you're almost like in a Zelda type world.
Yeah, it's very Zelda-like in that respect. Cool. Yeah, and very fun.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool.
I also tried out a little board game, Proximity 2. I didn't realize there was Proximity 1. Anyway, it's a hexagon-based board game where you have a grid, and it randomly generates a grid, so it's not completely hexagons all the way across. There'll be blanks in there. Anyway, and so it's a little bit like Go, or Pente, where you flip the colors or whatever. Is that what it's called? Go?
I don't know.
Pente.
Yeah. So what happens?
Wait,
is
like checkers?
No, not at all. And so you have
Chinese checkers?
You have hexagons that are that have numbers on them, and it's randomly gives you new ones as you use old ones, and so you set them down, and then if your opponent, who's the computer on the demo, if your opponent places a number that's higher than yours next to it, it changes the color, and then that goes to their score. And so the numbers that are on the hexagons with your color is your score. And then if you place another one of hexagon of your color next to another one of yours, then it ups the number by 2 or something like that. Or if you place it next to an opponent's and it's not enough to change the color, it lowers it by 1. It lowers their number by 1. And so it's a strategy board game where you're trying to outmaneuver your opponent and block them off from high scoring pieces, things like that. Very cool. I kept getting screwed when I was playing it though. I had this streak where it'll be like, I'd start off with like an 18. 20 is the highest number. I'd be like, I have an 18, and then I'd have like an 11. I'm like, all right, looking good. And then a 7, and then like 2 and a 1 or something like that. And then, I'd use my high ones out, I'd be placing them out there. And then all of a sudden I have this string of like 1, 1, 2, 3, 1. I'm like, come on, I can't get anything with this stuff. So the randomization could have been a little tighter for me.
Maybe you just had bad luck.
Apparently, because they were dropping like 16s and 11s and 15s on me. I'm like, God damn it, I can't win.
You can't win.
No, but it was a lot of fun.
I think you have to buy the game to win.
If you like, I think so. Like, that's not good demoing. That's a bad strategy.
Was it one of the bullet points on like when the full game purchase to say
we will screw you less if you purchase this game?
Tiles worth more than 3 points.
So I liked it a lot. It reminded me, of course, of Greed Corp. I don't think I mentioned.
Yeah, it sounds like it. That's what I was thinking. When
yeah, I mean that sort of trumping and knocking people's squares out essentially, and cutting them off from things. It's got that sort of strategy to it. And it reminds me of some other number games that
Dominoes.
I don't know. I haven't played Dominoes.
I'm just naming games. Triominoes.
So I like it a lot.
Scrabble.
I recommend people checking it out. I can't remember how much it is. Probably 80, I would guess. But
okay.
But I can't say for
and
certain.
There's not, we talked about many times that, it's nice to see more board type games on there, strategy games. Yes. And so
it made me want to go back to Ancient Trader.
I'm assuming.
I haven't played Ancient Trader.
I'm assuming that's not online.
I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Probably not, but we'll see. I mean, Ancient Trader was, I guess.
I know there was a multiplayer, but I don't know if it was local or not.
I'll look into it.
Ancient Trader was there. There have been a number of multiplayer options in indie games lately. So. And then the last thing I have is Toy Cars, which is an over-the-top racer.
Yeah.
And it's pretty simple and basic. You have I think you can choose from different cars, and they do have actually slightly different stats. Maybe I can't quite remember. But what I thought was quite fun is that it's the premise that they're toy cars, and so the tracks are all these natural found household objects set up for all this stuff. And the tracks were really what sold it for me. I mean, they looked really nice, and they were really well designed. And I think the music was pretty good. I mean, it was pretty basic for a racer like that. I don't think there were anything like power-ups, but I was sliding around corners and stuff like that. And so it was pretty fun. I think it was only 80 points as well. And so, if you're looking for some racing fun, that one's worth checking out, definitely. Cool. It's got a little bit of the cell shading look on the cars themselves.
Nice.
So,
yeah, I downloaded it. I haven't yet to play it, though.
Yeah, you should try it out.
Yeah.
That's my role.
Yeah.
I didn't even download it.
Well, see, you were slacking on that even, so he had to pick up your work there.
There was another racing game.
We've all gone a step down. I didn't even bother to download stuff this time.
Yeah. There's another racing game that I tried out that was so bad that I was kind of shrugged me off of the other.
Was it the Days of Thunder XBLA game?
Yes.
Awesome.
Was it?
Yeah.
Awesome. This is going to be a good combo.
Because we're ready to talk about XBLA now.
Yeah. So we can lead into that.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to this game just because I thought arcade Days of Thunder, that's a good combo, and I really didn't like it.
It's a good combo. Yeah, it's a good combo 15 years ago when the fucking movie came out.
But I knew it wasn't going to be like you were Cole and you're racing your way up.
Oh, it's not an RPG?
No, it's not an RPG.
Isn't the dude on the radio supposed to be the same guy?
It's not the same. He sounds like the Cole's not his on the track.
You could name anybody right now, and I'd be like, oh, really?
That guy. He's been in a bunch of other movies.
Yeah.
But his villain at the very beginning, and then he got hurt, and then he raced his car.
And that's
at
Brian's
the end.
song.
It was like, dun, dun. Yeah, it was awesing. That was the goose moment of that movie, because that Days of Thunder is totally Top Gun. But anyway,
no, he means someone runs up behind him and grabs his butt.
But anyway,
I can't believe we're spoiling Days of Thunder.
Yeah.
Can we put a thing at the beginning of the episode?
No.
Spoiling things. We never spoil that movie. He wins. What? He wins.
I thought he died in a fiery wreck.
I'm talking about Carrie Ewell's.
Oh,
still don't know.
Seriously, why are you ruining everything?
Dry in the Hardy's Cup. Anyway, yeah, this game is.
I don't think we can. We need the background.
I didn't care for it at the background because you don't even
setting up the backstory.
You don't even race as Cole in the demo, but whatever. You race against him. I don't know. I just didn't care for. It was weird. It felt like a very strict NASCAR type game. The controls I had a little hard time with.
Yeah, they were really sensitive.
Yeah, I thought very much so for an arcade.
Yeah,
and then there was a turbo involved in it,
right?
Which I thought was really weird to have almost a straight NASCAR game,
that's what
and then throw a turbo.
That was the
it.
concessions that they were making. Well, there's turbo and there was focus. So you gain turbo power by either drafting behind people or by passing people, and then you gain focus basically by fucking up and running into things. So like if you're sliding on the wall, well, that's because turbo helps you go faster, but focus slows down time basically, and so which was actually helpful for the corners because I'm a cow behind a rocket ship on a racetrack on any driving game, and so normally I would just kind of barrel through those corners and smash into things, but the focus does allow you to have more control over the car. Going the same speed out of focus has less control than going the same speed in focus. And so that was kind of helpful. I think that was their attempt to. And the pits. Did you?
I thought the pit was the best part of the game. I really enjoyed the pit because I thought it was really neat to go in there and it was all timing and you had to hit the buttons to fix what part either your tires, your engine, or put gas in it. And you just keep hitting the buttons because if you wanted to spend it all on fixing your car up, you had to kind of. Pick what you wanted.
You have a certain time that you're driving through the pits. You keep moving. I mean, you could eject early by pressing Y, and I often did that because the buttons were X, A, and B, and I'm used to like A or B being like an exit sort of deal. So I'd be like, Y. Oh, I'm out already. But yeah, and so and you can kind of decide, well, I want, I really need this, but I don't need to care about these other things. And so that was a neat sort of way to not completely take you out of the game as you're going. And yeah, I don't know. They were trying to capture the magic of like Madden Arcade, with of having a few of those perks like the focus and the turbo. But I agree that otherwise it just didn't feel like any different than a really cheap racing game.
It was just really I think it was just really chunky. I was expecting a little bit more. When I've played many racing games, so control is the one aspect, and I felt like I was all over the racetrack.
Oh yeah.
And I've played NASCAR games, and that's the one thing about it. You've got to, ease up, and you have to control it well. But
it's because you're only going in a circle, so
But it felt like it was just
you have to give them a challenge somehow.
I don't know. I just even then, even in other NASCARs, you pull back when you go into corners. I don't know.
It did look like you had the option because your car was automatic in the demo. It did seem like there was an option for like a manual car.
And that would drive me nuts. The more I'd have to hit buttons. So yeah.
Did you get to bang the medical chick?
Yes.
The nurse or whatever her role is in that movie.
No, she's actually a doctor.
Oh, a doctor.
Oh. Yeah.
You know what was
that was sexist of me just to assume she was a nurse.
You know what was totally
bang the medical chick.
Totally
that wasn't sexist.
Totally awful though, because if your car gets busted up too much, then you have like this wreck video, and then it just resets you and you keep going. But if you crash trying to get into the pits, then it resets you on the track outside of the pits.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and so I'm like, I can't go in the pits now.
Convenient.
Awesome.
I was just while you guys were talking, all I was thinking about was like a
banging
pit.
a medical chick.
No, a pit real time strategy game or like an RPG. You're just like a pit crew, and you just wait. You just watch everybody go around for like.
Is this like the Office game that we made up?
Yes. And then you just play the pit crew, and you got like 30 seconds to like be all quick when they pull in, and then you wait again for like 10 minutes.
I need to upgrade my tire guy's strength so he can haul those tires faster.
It's brilliant.
And then you lose.
It's awesome. Pit boss, right?
You would lose.
And then there should be a pit boss RPG that's you're on like in Vegas.
Yeah, exactly. Where you change it 20,
and you could totally take down dudes that are trying to. Yes. Security crew. You could be like a multiplayer online co-op.
Mafia 2 guys need to get on this.
So you would play at home and you're on the security cameras.
Yeah.
And then I'm playing as the pit boss. So you would communicate to me like all this guy's over there.
Is this like the whole?
Or I could play as
Zelda game.
Or I could play as the guy playing poker. And then he's the villain.
Yeah. And you're like trying to get away.
Yeah,
with it.
that's the versus.
It's like an MMO.
Yeah, that's sweet.
See, this is what Days of Thunder led to.
There you go. Thank you, Days of Thunder.
What was it? 800 points or something?
800, yeah.
That's all.
Our game is going to be 4,000 points.
Well, it sounds like it's going to
MMO.
involve a lot.
Also a monthly fee.
I think I went in with high hopes on this game.
You think so?
I did not go in.
Too high.
Because it was on your list of looking forward to games, and I was like, really?
Shut up.
Well, we'll talk about it a year from now.
It could have had potential. It had potential. Like,
No, it didn't. And then it came out of nowhere too. Like it like got released on a Friday.
Yeah.
Like, secretly,
Yeah, it was
like
kinda
just
off
shoved out
sequence,
there.
yeah.
very ridiculous.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it might have been fun if they went a little more with the arcadey route and maybe like threw in power-ups or some sort of upgrading system or something like that.
Yeah.
To kind of give you a little more control than just driving around.
Well, we talked about hardcore before. So I have a little bit to say about that because I picked up the game and I'm enjoying it. I didn't get to play as much as I wanted to of it because I just didn't. But I love it.
Yeah.
I really like a lot of the things about that game.
I really like the fact that after our show, we got a lot of people telling us how to play the game because I obviously didn't know how to play the game. That really opened it up.
Yeah,
and made
I only
it
played
awesome.
the demo, so I didn't mess around with it too much. But then
Strafing and stuff.
yeah, the strafing and like being able to like just point in one direction or like stand still and you can move your stick around and aim your gun. That was awesome.
It took me a while that I had played for so long, not knowing how to do that when I knew how to, then I had to kind of change up my gameplay because I was almost dependent on that and then getting stuck because I was like, why aren't I shooting backwards? I'm pointing that way. I'm pointing that way. I'm like, oh, let go of the trigger. Let go, But
I played through the demo and I only got to the part with the motorcycle. That first time that you're on the movement and you got to aim backwards.
Yep.
And I didn't at that time know that you could hold down the trigger button to like continually
that
pull
would've
you
been-
behind.
that would've been helpful.
That helps a lot.
It's a huge helpful thing.
Jeez,
yes.
yeah.
So I got past that finally into the next section. Then I started dying there.
Yeah.
And then I got to like a boss and got past that boss finally after continuing a couple times. Then I got past the boss and I had to fight the thing again on the thing, and I'm like or on the bike.
Yeah.
I'm like, this
The
level
thing again on the
never
thing.
ends.
Yeah.
It was never ending, and so I kept dying. I get a little further, and then die, and have to redo everything again. And I mean, I guess that's the point because you're building up all the
that
points.
game. Yeah.
So you're getting better as
Yeah.
well, while you're doing all that stuff. And then I would get to the end and I would miss the helicopter, which was a goddamn joke. Because you jump off this thing and you got to catch.
That's like what happens in that game. Period.
You got to catch the helicopter. So I finally
miss the
beat all these
helicopter.
bosses.
Get to the chopper.
I finally beat all these bosses. Get to the helicopter and you just missed the jump.
Yeah.
And you're dead.
It was bad when I knew that the helicopter, and at any time when that helicopter was coming up, it was like I always hoped that I had one extra live.
Yeah.
Because if I didn't, I was
die.
just sitting there pissed the whole time, going, "I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna have to do this all over again." But
I want to jump in and play Uprising with or the Rising mode with a co-op and get some of that in because I still have only cleared that first level.
I would be more than happy.
Yeah, we'll have to do that
because
sometime.
I've had a lot of fun with it after I finally beat that last guy, and it's just especially with learning how the controls work a little bit better.
Word.
Me not paying attention. That was so helpful, but at the same time, I had learned the fact that I'd gone through the whole game playing the other way. It's kind of it.
Well, made it easy for you then.
But
once you could do that other stuff,
a little bit, but still, it's like my brain won't
Rewire.
It won't go back and forth, because then I get stuck to where, like, especially when you can just stand and then you can move the gun and shoot. I thought it was a really cool thing, but then I'm like, why aren't I moving? And I'm pressing, but I'm still holding the trigger. Yeah, so
you're just a tard.
I am.
How about some Bejeweled? Or do you guys have something else you want to
No.
I was going to touch back on Pac-Man because it was on sale.
Okay,
and I didn't even I only played the demo of it, so I got to play some more.
Oh, because you never had the game.
I never bought the game. I wanted to, and I just never, I never did. And then once they put it on sale, I jumped at the chance, and I loved the demo that I played, but some of those other extra levels and being able to kind of get more into the game. I love it.
I bought it when it came out, like the day it came out, and I think you probably played more than me still.
It's
this one I got away from and I never got back to.
When you get all those ghosts going,
that was one of the few things I played this week.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Couple weeks.
When those ghosts get going, it's so fun.
Yeah,
I just have so much fun with it.
I've been going through the darkness levels right now, which are the same levels for everything else, except it's not lit up except right around Pac-Man. And
Did they had some levels of that in that last Pac-Man game, right? That were kind of like that spotlight.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
so you didn't really know the path.
Yeah. Well, and these are the exact same maps as the other ones, and I think when it flashes in the new stuff, you can get a glimpse of it,
like the wave that it does across.
And plus, because the ghosts are in place around there, you get a general idea where the turns are, because the ghosts are usually positioned near turns.
Yeah.
And so as you run around to trigger them, you can be like, turn here.
That's fun though.
It's really fun.
There's a lot of content content in that game. I mean, there's just a lot of different play modes. So
I was looking at like especially some of those achievements that they have is like they make you want to play some of those other even changing the skins and changing the screens, which I thought was I love that aspect to it. I had a lot of fun with that. So
yeah, the presentation's awesome.
And the $5 price point was fantastic. So
Lara Croft's going on sale again.
Is it?
Yeah, I think next week or the week that the show is coming out or something like that.
Nice.
Excellent.
Bejeweled Blitz live.
Yeah. Yes.
Did you guys check it out?
Yes.
Demo-wise at least?
Oh, yeah.
What do you guys think of it?
Here's my deal.
I agree.
Here's my deal. I already have Bejeweled 2 or whatever.
Yep.
And then I have that game whose name I can never remember, where PopCap teamed up with Square Enix, that sort of
Gyromancer.
Gyromancer, thank you. And that's basically Bejeweled Twist.
Yes.
And so, I already have those games to play, and I don't really care about trying to do as well as I can in 60 seconds because I'm not very good at the games.
Right.
So, and I don't really, those aren't the sort of games that I'm like, I want to be better at them. They're the sort of games that I go to play because they're just kind of fun, relaxing time for me. So I can totally see why Bejeweled Blitz would become, really fun for some people. But for me, I'm just like, I don't need this. And so, yeah, I played it once and I was like, I'm done.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I love Bejeweled 2. I've played Blitz, and it's like its Facebook incarnation, because that's like on the Facebook application that you can play, and just a couple times.
Yeah.
I hate Twist. I hate that gameplay style.
Oh, I like Twist
because I hated Gyromancer because my brain doesn't work in turning that way, like doing the whole circle, turning 4. I can't do it. So I hate Twist. So the copy that I had
you have
was
difficulty with screws, right? That's how I can lock you out.
I can do
of
that,
things.
but I
can't turn it.
I can't quickly think how I want to get these 4 lined up by turning 4 at a time.
Right.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Gotcha.
I'm
Yeah.
just an idiot. My brain doesn't work that way. I need to move 1 at a time. Slide 1 in.
See, my problem was I went into the regular Bejeweled when I was playing Bejeweled Blitz. I'm like, how do I play this game again? I could not remember how to move things around. I felt like an idiot.
So my thing with Bejeweled Blitz live is that it was a review copy that I was playing. So I didn't play the demo first. I just played the game. And within about 15, 20 minutes, I really was not into it at all. I didn't like it. And I was pretty adamant about the fact that I wouldn't have bought this game.
Sure.
Like, I enjoyed Bejeweled normally.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's a couple different elements that are being thrown into this game that I don't enjoy. First off, I like Bejeweled because it's kind of laid back, and I just can settle. You just veg out and completely play it.
Yeah.
And zone out.
This is competitive.
And this
Bejeweled.
is a completely competitive. There are 1 minute time limit. You get as many points as you can in that 1 minute. Game over. You start again.
Yeah.
And it's the control style is different because on the classic version of it, on the Blitz version, you're doing the buttons are the direction you want to move.
Yeah.
So A would be moving a jewel down.
Right.
B would be moving it left, and so on for the different buttons.
Before it was just the joystick, right?
Yeah, in Bejeweled 2, you just hit you hit the A button, I believe, and then you
highlight it.
you would move your.
I mean, I guess
joystick.
that makes sense because you can technically go faster.
Correct.
There's one less step.
So
involved.
what I hated it at the beginning because I couldn't get my brain
it out.
around it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I was like getting like 10,000, 16,000 points. I was getting nothing.
Yeah.
And it was really frustrating. Stuck with it, played it, and got completely addicted to it.
Awesome.
Like,
Nice.
I am in love with
Nice.
that game now and won't stop playing it. And it was all right but then I ended up playing it for like 7 hours last weekend when I wouldn't play anything else. Dude, it's sick.
Yeah.
I love it now.
Yeah.
Like,
That's good, though.
So my thing with it is if you play the demo and you're like, like, I don't see any reason why you can't just continually play the demo, right? It's the same thing. You just play a minute round, minute round, and nonstop. You just don't get your scores saved.
Yeah.
So, like, practicing with it a bit and sticking with it, and maybe you'll fall in love with it. But I completely love it at this point.
Right.
And I've gotten really used to, like, the controls and, like, being able to do the button movement, and I've gotten quick with it and kind of just tuned my eye to what to look for at this point, too.
Yeah.
So...
I was in the same boat. I'm not a huge fan of Bejeweled. I like playing the game. It's like I always liked that other game, the Hexic.
Yeah.
Had some fun with that. But that's the other thing is like I feel like since I have that game type of thing, it's but I own like how many Super Breakout games, so my logic and my argument doesn't. I should not even start it. But I once I got the controls down, I really, really, really enjoyed it a lot more and had a lot of fun with it. Yeah.
And I found myself when I was playing, I was like, well, I wish there wasn't this time limit because I kind of just like to not be so rushed and like chill out with it.
Yeah.
But that's almost now makes it even more addicting. Because with Bejeweled 2, you'd play a game, and sometimes the game would last 3 minutes, and sometimes it would last 40 minutes.
Right.
With now, it's like you play a game, and you're done every minute. Yeah. And it's a constant, I don't know another game that I've had this much of a problem where it's just like, just one more game. Just one more game. Mm-hmm. And before I know it, I'm like 2 hours in because I played 15,000 one more games.
Right.
Because they're just a minute. So you're like, this is just a minute.
Oh, God, this is taking me back to 007.
20 minutes later, you're like done. So it's just really addicting.
Yeah.
And I kind of like the idea now trying to get my better score.
Oh, sure.
And so it's definitely been a lot of fun for me. You know what else helped is they do this party mode, Xbox Live party mode, and you go in and it's up to 16 other people. And you're all playing at the same time. And so over on the left-hand side, there'll be a little bar that has little dots that represent everybody that you're playing with. Mm-hmm. And those will rise and lower depending on how everybody's doing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it keeps everybody pretty much balanced. Or I think just the way that the game works over time, everybody's going to kind of be balanced and the same because it's a matter of... There is some skill involved, but there's a huge emphasis on luck in the game as far as what falls, what you get, moving the things in the right order. And so it usually stays where not somebody is like in the lead the whole time. It usually fluctuates and everybody moves up and down within the ranks. That's a lot of fun. Like and I found myself being even better at the game or upping my game when I just have people that I'm not legitimately competing against because it's a live party system. So everybody's in there playing, people leave, people join, people leave, people join. There's no definite end or beginning point to the mode. Sure. So you're just in there and you're gaining experience points because how the game works too is you level up based on your experience points, your total points that you get. So you can go up to level 50. But it takes millions and millions and millions of points.
Is that just a status thing?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything tied to it other than just an achievement, to go for.
That makes sense.
But you earn those points no matter what mode you're playing in.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
And if you play in the live party mode, depending on your position in the group of people that you're playing against and how many people are in there, you also get bonus points, bonus experience points every couple of seconds. So if you're in the top spot, you get 200 bonus points every 2 or 3 seconds.
Awesome.
And so there's really no reason to not play in party mode.
Yeah.
Because you're not really competing against anybody.
Right.
They show you in between each round, so you play for a minute and they show you the current leaderboard, where you're at in the party. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't matter. None of it matters. You're still getting your experience points for doing whatever score you got. Mm-hmm. You get a high score in there, it still posts to the leaderboard like a normal play would.
Right.
So there's really no reason to not play on live because it gives you bonus points as well.
That's pretty sweet.
And you get to see little people's icons over on the side on that thing, and they're exploding, and fireworks are all going off if they got stuff going on, and they're raising and lowering.
Funny.
I've been in there with some friends, and it's just a lot of fun to mess around with.
That is really cool.
Yeah, I really enjoy that mode a lot. Yeah. And then they have regular battle mode too. You can do local or online, and you just one-on-one with somebody, and I think that's just a score battle.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily need the competition. I like this fake competition that's there, but not real. You don't even see anybody else's scores.
Yeah.
You're basically just worried about yourself and position-wise. So I really enjoy it. And it's $10. And like I said, at 30 minutes in, I was like, I would never buy this game. Mm-hmm. Now after 2 hours, and then now up to my 10 or 15 or whatever, which is ridiculous. I think it's a steal. So I think it just takes time. You got to get used to the controls.
Yeah.
And it's those games aren't for everybody though either.
No.
So it's a definite different type of game for Bejeweled. So it's a different experience.
Yeah. It manages to be very different while being exactly the same at the same time.
And that's only in the classic that I've been playing. They have Twist, which all those other options are available for Twist as well. I'm just probably not ever going to play it. That's another, that's another one though that if I probably sat down with it and did it, I would learn it.
Although
my brain is broke.
It was much easier in Gyromancer where I had time to do that sort of stuff. To learn it.
That's true, because I don't know if I'd like it in a 1 minute forced to learn, and I'm just like,
but I don't know. It's not that difficult.
It seems like they had combos going on the twist side where if you did matches without mismoving, that you would get a bigger score. Or increase a multiplier, because that is another thing too. You get the normal like extra jewels that fall, so like things that explode around or do like cross lines, or you get multipliers. The more matches you make, they drop these multipliers. You get those; it increases your score. So that's really the way to go. And on Twist, if that's the only way you can get them is by not missing matches, I'd fail hard on that, I think.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I recommend checking it out and giving it a lengthy go.
Awesome. I haven't raced it yet because I'm on the fence with it.
Do it so we can play party mode.
Well, we'll see.
The last XBLA game that came out in the last 2 weeks was Beyond Good and Evil HD.
Yeah.
I tried this one out. I never played the original Beyond Good and Evil. I have some friends who, love the original game, and, we're really looking forward to this. Just like the whole Perfect Dark HD thing that came out a while ago. And, but I wasn't sure. I'm like, sometimes I can't go back. Nostalgia isn't enough sometimes for me. And I started playing it, and I'm like, this is really kind of a weird game, as it starts up. But the more I played, the more I got into it. I'm like, it's a pretty fun game, and the HD update, looks pretty good.
I think it looks really smooth.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely looks like it's right in place with any other arcade game on there. And do you know? Does anyone know if the original had the voice work?
I believe so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was on GameCube. Was it a
GameCube game? I know nothing about it. I know nothing about it. Yeah, and so I wasn't quite sure what with.
I never played it.
Neither did I. I already said that.
Yeah, and like.
Did I mention I haven't played it before?
Like you, everybody just talked about how underappreciated the game was.
Yeah,
it didn't get the attention it deserved, and they loved it.
Yeah,
those who played it loved it.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to. I played a little bit of the demo. I am going to purchase the game.
I think I might as well. Yeah.
I mean, it's an 800-point game, so $10, and it's a game that sold for 60 or 50 when it came out.
Yeah, it was a full disc game originally, and so it's
the content's
going to be
there.
decent. Yeah, in content, definitely.
I'm looking forward to playing it, and I guess maybe we'll have that next time because
and so a lot of it is it's got a very platformer feel.
Yeah,
it came from that era of platformers, and so I remember going around and collecting like photos of things, and that was cool because I was like trying to figure out what's something else I could take pictures of. I was taking pictures of the kids because they were actually different species as well, and I went up to the top of the lighthouse and there's this seal going around. I can't take a picture of it. I'm like, God damn it! What did I need to do? I think I needed to get my lens, whatever, the digital zoom or whatever, but I needed one more picture to get that digital zoom. So
damn it,
I know. And then and so you're going to be collecting things all throughout. And somebody told me that there's a decent amount of stealth element in the game. I didn't really see any of that in the demo part because you don't do a lot of anything. Well, you do some combat at the very beginning, and actually the combat was very fluid and smooth. And
I didn't have a problem with that.
Yeah, and so I think it'd be a very enjoyable game.
I watched up until the kids got taken and they got turned into monsters.
And then
I had to
and then you're
quit.
like, am I playing Sonic?
No, I had to quit.
So you didn't technically do anything in the game.
I watched the
because that's where you fight.
I know. So you guys got way farther than I did.
Yeah, way farther.
Yeah, I was an epic fail. I thought it looked really good though. I wanted to chime in on that.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to playing
too. Yeah,
I think that, but I don't know how long time wise it is. I guess I could probably find that out since it exists in other forms. But so I don't know how much investment it's going to take time wise. But I'm looking forward to playing through it. I definitely think I'm going to buy it this week.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely. I didn't know how I was going to feel about it. Perfect Dark didn't really do it for me, but then I started playing and I'm like, well, I was really big into those PS2 era platformers anyway. So that felt like coming home a little bit there.
I wish they'd do an Eternal Darkness reboot. That'd be awesome.
I didn't play that either.
Oh, so good. That was on the GameCube too.
Well, see, I didn't play much on the GameCube.
Yay. I love my GameCube. I know I didn't get shit for it, but I loved it.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Oh,
you loved his GameCube?
No, my GameCube.
No, he loved mine. Violently.
It does have 4 ports. So that's it for XBLA, right?
I've got.
Oh, you do have something else?
Torchlight.
Oh, Torchlight, right.
Which is coming out this week. So a couple days from when this episode will be out. So this was another review copy that I got. I didn't get a lot of time with it. I had a lot of time to spend with it, but I didn't put as much time into it as I should have. This is Runick's game that came out 2 years ago now on the PC. I think it was 2009 release.
Oh, yeah.
That everybody probably knows about. This is the 360 version, which I don't think is too different. I think the big question here was how it was gonna get mapped over. It's really well done. I'm finding it a lot of fun.
Intuitive.
It's a collect fest, which is really all you care about in the game.
Right.
There's a thin story that's just your regular kind of adventurer, that kind of story.
Right.
You're going on quests and doing those things, but it doesn't really matter. It's really all about collecting the loot.
Sure.
And that's what the game's all about. And I'm not a good one for that to prey on because that's all I care about is collecting. and but luckily you have places you can keep everything. So I'm never going to sell anything. It's going to be awesome. But it's I remember when we were playing Borderlands and Deathspank, and that was getting mentioned a lot of everybody saying, Torchlight, or this is your version of that, where it's just the collectathon.
Right.
And with Borderlands in particular, having everything being the different colors, and that mimics, exactly what's going on in Torchlight, where everything's colored differently depending on your levels, or if it's a higher level, or if it's a rare item.
Gotcha.
They're like a purple color. You pick basically one of 3 different characters in the game. You can be a destroyer, which is like the fighter. You can be a vanquisher, which is the ranger, thief kind of character, or the alchemist, which is the mage. I'm going with the mage to begin with because I kind of want to see what the spell stuff did in the game, as opposed to just fighting everybody up close.
Yeah.
They add in almost a little bit of steampunk kind of feel to it because they do add in like robots once in a while. I think the mage eventually can like summon robots or make them. And then there's a lot of guns thrown in as well on top of like swords and hammers and things like that. You also have a pet that comes with you. You can choose at the beginning a dog, a cat, or like a lizard type thing. I think it's like a dinosaur thing, but I went with dog, of course.
And the dog can run things for you, right?
Yeah, so you can also teach the dog or your pet spells. You can give them items. They can like basically carry stuff for you. They can run back to the town and dump stuff off or sell stuff. You can use these fish that you find to basically transform them or mutate them into different animals.
Yikes.
For like a shortened period of time, so like a couple minutes.
Yeah.
So I turned him into this lizard thing, my dog, and then he was tearing ass up. Everybody.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's basically just a dungeon crawler where you're going through and collecting items and doing quests and getting gold and things like that. So I'm finding I was kind of off put at the beginning as far as your customization. Picking those 3 different characters, you don't really get to change anything about them. They're set up with an already like predetermined. So like the fighter will of course be stronger and have those all made up. But as you level up, you really do get to customize a lot of that stuff as far as where you're putting skill points into.
Sure.
There's a pretty deep, big level of like your spell management and ability management that now I'm having to make really hard decisions as far as where I want to, because not only do you like put points into spells and abilities, but then they have like 10 different levels you can do that increase them. So now it's like, do I want to start unlocking new abilities or do I want to increase the abilities that I have? Like one of the ones I have for my mage is this, he can call up these nether imps and they run around with you and help. And so instead of getting a new ability now, this last time I leveled up, I increased that. So now I can summon 2 of them. So now that's like I summon those and they run around with us. And so this is like me and my dog and these 2 nether imps and they all just fight everybody. And I stand them back and shoot magic out.
That's awesome.
So the more you level up that stuff, I think it's going to be awesome because I really like the idea of raising up your army and fighting with those dudes.
Cool.
Looking forward to getting a lot more time with it. Like I said, the leveling up is really enticing to me. The new weapons, new loot is enticing to me. I like the idea that a lot of them are mystery like items. You pick them up and it's undefined, and you get these scrolls that are you have to use these scrolls that basically tell you what they are.
Sure.
And so if you don't use it, you can't use the item, and it's just like all there with question marks.
I see.
Until you unlock it with the scroll.
I see. Kind of like in an epic dungeon. They had
yes,
similar
yeah.
scenes. Although with that, you could equip it, and then it would end up being cursed.
And I can't say that might not be the case here too. I can't remember if you can equip it without without having it defined.
To just kind of randomly
because
find
I don't know
out
if they're going to do
okay.
that. Yeah, exactly. And they could. Because I do know there's a level of difficulty you can play on this game that works like Epic Dungeon, which is when you die, you die.
Oh, I see.
And game over.
Yeah.
So you can play on that hardest difficulty level, and I am not doing that.
No way.
Not happening.
No, that's definitely the game that I was before House Party started that I was most looking forward
Torchlight?
to. Torchlight, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Beyond Good and Evil has crept up on that ladder.
That's good.
Out of nowhere, but
and this I think it's $15. I think it's 1,200 points when it comes out. But it is. I don't know how I would recommend it for people who've already played on the PC. It seems like if I've gone through this on the PC, there would really be no reason for me to go back to it.
I mean, that's understandable.
So I don't know if you've already put the time into it that I would see anybody doing it. But there's a lot of people, those of us on the 360 that don't play PC games, that haven't gotten to experience it, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We talked about the button mapping being the big issue, and they did a lot of things where you can hotkey almost every trigger that's on there. I think both of the triggers and all of the buttons to anything that you want, spell-wise or, attack.
Very cool.
And then the bumper buttons are reserved for your health and magic refills. And so they're automatic. So you have your health and mana up at the top right and left corners. And you can just hit those bumpers automatically to refill or whatever if you need to in the heat of the moment, which is really handy. And I liked it a lot. It felt to me a lot like Deathspank, but without the humor. So I'm a little torn on that too, because it really, outside of just collecting loot, I don't know that there's anything else that's going to drive me to want to play through it.
Sure.
Okay.
So I almost would recommend Deathspank more if you want content wise, as far as comedy and humor, and the weapons are all funny named, and there's just a lot more fun feel to that.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Not to detract from Torchlight. It's just a different kind of experience.
Yeah.
So if you had to pick one or the other, I don't know, kind of tough, depending on what you're looking for, I guess. But I find myself driven to play through it more, definitely.
Sure.
So we'll see.
Excellent.
Cool. Probably next time we'll have more to say about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll
and
be
Beyond
that
Good and
out.
Evil.
Yes. Yes. Demo wise, I tried out the Dragon Age 2 demo. Now, disclaimer here, I did not play the first Dragon Age, so this is Dragon newbie coming in. But all the developers keep saying that this is a good entry point for the Dragon Age.
Of course they do.
Franchise anyway.
What are they going to say?
What they're saying,
you can't play it if you didn't play
one. What they're saying is that it's not continuity based. I mean,
gotcha. Yeah.
There's no need to know that previous
I'm just being
story.
a complete dick.
Yes, as usual.
Exactly.
And so it lets you run through kind of a remixed version of early parts of the game, I guess, because you start off in what I'm guessing is very close to the beginning of the actual game for Dragon Age 2, but then they also attach another quest later on, which kind of jumps to that though, and it's very obviously splicing together different things to kind of bridge the story, but at the same time, until I figured out that they were just kind of remixing it a little bit, I'm like, really? This is how they're going to tell the story? It's just dirt, over here and over there. I'm like, oh, okay. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. So I liked the fact that you could map abilities to the different buttons, and then they all had their own recharge time, and then there was a second wheel of buttons behind it. So I think if you hold down the left bumper, right bumper, can't remember, one of the buttons, then you switch to the other wheel and you can use that. I think I played through as sort of the sneaky thief guy the first time around. I didn't go back through and play it again, but was pretty fun. You have the skill trees, and those are all different. So each person has different skill trees for different sets of abilities. So for example, with the thief guy, he had a set of archery abilities. He also had a set of abilities for two-handed weapons, meaning holding two small weapons and one in each hand. And then a few other things. Oh, no, I did go through again, and I played as... No, I didn't play as a mage. You collect people in your party, and they level up, and you can deal with their skill trees as well. And so what was really neat, and I don't know if this was in the original Dragon Age or not, was that you moved around to skills on the skill tree, but then skills also had enhancements that become available after you collect that skill. And so it would just kind of supercharge that skill a little bit. It wouldn't be a new ability. It would just enhance that ability. I thought that was a pretty neat idea for skill trees, and then it looks really slick, and the combat moves pretty quickly. As you're just kind of running around. I don't know. I enjoyed it. The story sequences seemed pretty cool. But yeah, it can be a little confusing story-wise if you don't recognize the fact that it's kind of splicing around. Because I think somebody who wasn't in the opening scene was then later. Or he was, but wasn't in the opening scenes. Was later in a scene, and I'm like, "What's that dude doing there?"
He just shows up.
He shouldn't be there. But it may not have been the same dude, and so I don't know.
I heard that it's supposed to look better than the first one.
Like I said, I didn't look at the first one, but I thought it looked really nice.
Yeah, from what a lot of my friends at work and what I've heard online is a lot of people are excited for it. Compared to the first one, they really, like people that enjoyed the first one, they really, by this demo, they've kind of not amped it up, but cleaned it up and made the fighting kind of like what they did with Mass Effect 2. A lot of people have been comparing to that, is like taking out all the stuff that was like about the first one, and then just changed it.
I could not get into the first one. I couldn't. I mean, I tried, and it was. I wonder now if I looked at it with having some more like traditional RPG experience under my belt, as far as like playing a couple more. Because to me, it felt like a really PC-based RPG.
Yeah,
when I played the first one,
sure. But this one isn't. I guess.
But at that point, I hadn't played Risen. I hadn't played Two Worlds 2. I hadn't played Arcanaya. Yeah, so there was a number of those now that I've like had a little bit more experience with some of those games getting ported onto the 360. Where I wonder if I would be able to go back to that and kind of notice the differences or be a little more into it, in tune.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to hear that 2 didn't feel that way.
No, I didn't get that impression. And to compare it to things like Mass Effect 2, it's a little more action-y simply because you're more close combat based as opposed to the shooting that Mass Effect has. And so, Mass Effect is a little more paced out in terms of battles, in slower pace to it. And this is much more frenetic, lots of enemies coming at you, and you have to deal with them pretty quickly. And then, watching your friends too, people in your party, and because they're going to be doing things and their abilities might attract attention. So, for example, I had this big brawler and all the monsters kept heaping on her, which was kind of awesome because then because you can't access your inventory in the demo. And so as the thiefy guy, he can either use 2 separate small weapons or use the bow. And so you can't switch back and forth since you can't get to the inventory. So, but they give you 1 point early on where you can choose to switch. And so I went with the arrows just to see how ranged attacks would work and whatever. But it was kind of awesome because they were all attacking the brawler lady, and then I'd shoot like these big arrow attacks that would explode on them or whatever, and then they all start running at me instead because they change their tactics based on who's the biggest threat. Based on threat assessment.
So when you're raining hell down on them, they're like, wait a minute.
Which I did, almost literally.
Why won't they let you access your menu or your inventory?
I don't know.
That's really odd.
Well, maybe it's to keep down on the amount of coding that they needed to do.
Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, if you're going to be able to switch things, it automatically switched if you picked up like a new weapon, an upgraded weapon or whatever, I think. But it seemed really cool. It's got the dialogue choices like you have in other BioWare games, and so that was pretty neat. And I got to be like, I was really kind towards my mother, and then like this one dude I'm like being really gruff with, and but at the other time I'm like, well, let's be sensible. And then I'm cracking jokes with this lady who turns into a dragon, and I'm like, and she's like, what are you doing? So it was fun. I'm looking forward to the game.
Sweet.
I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Next week.
I'll have to check the demo out.
This week.
Yeah.
This week.
Yikes. I got no time.
I've just heard too many people are like ready for it. So I thought that was pretty cool.
So how about the Lego Star Wars 3, the Clone Wars?
Loved it. I loved it.
Yeah.
No. It still had all the Lego problems I have, period. Camera. I mean, always.
There wasn't much camera maneuvering though.
I was having a hard time. I was just having a hard time.
It was all fixed.
I was having a hard time to see which way. Yeah, where the ends of things were at. I always fall off of things.
Yeah.
Like
I didn't have that much trouble with the area in the demo. Doesn't mean it's not going to be there. because that's almost always in Lego games.
Well, and then there was like just trying to figure out what I needed to grab, or what was, you know, there's a part where there's a crane and you had to move something. Well, I didn't know what I had to move.
Yeah,
because there's
took me
a couple things that were kind of sparkling. So I'm like going to them, and that wasn't it. It was like something was way off to the side. So other than that, I really liked the whole switching around, because there was a time where you get separated because it starts off as you and Anakin and Obi-Wan. Yeah. And I say you because I'm always going to be Obi-Wan. I'm going to try at least. But don't shake your head, jerk.
I didn't do nothing.
I know. You don't do nothing.
I'm just banging my head.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the look. I like the fact that you could like switch between characters to another section of the
This is a newish thing here, where if you hold down the Y button, there's a little circle up in the top that's showing what's happening with the other people. And if you hold down the Y button, it'll fill the meter, and once it does that, it switches to another group. And so, and so you have to accomplish things on both ends. But if you're stuck on one thing, you could just go over to the other set of characters and play around with those instead. Because I kind of got stuck with the Anakin crew at one point, and I thought I couldn't progress. Turns out later I could progress, but then I just went over to the Obi-Wan group and I was playing around with that instead.
That's kind of awesome.
It was a really neat.
It's a nice
addition to the game.
Innovation for them to like change up how deep the levels can be.
Yes.
As far as instead of just now switching between 2 or 3 different characters, now you've got a whole nother.
We had
group.
6 technically.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, you couldn't switch ultimately between them in the same
crazy.
area. Yeah, it was really kind of cool. And I liked some of the puzzles that they're throwing in there.
Yeah.
They were really neat. The vehicles sucked.
See, I had a lot of fun.
It took me forever to figure out how to do those. And then even they were pretty clunky once you got that.
See, I had a lot of fun with the space. The space flying.
Sure.
And I thought it was fine.
Do you have to do stuff with the vehicles? Is that what happened?
Well, there's two different segments. Yeah, one is like the whole level where you're kind of like the classic Lego level, jobby, and then the other one was you're flying around and you have to land the ship and then take out some of these reactor type things.
The landing wasn't the problem. It was flying around trying to shoot guns that were shooting at me.
I had no problem with that.
I couldn't aim at them because I was thinking I was flying straight at them. This is where the camera screwed me. I was thinking I was flying straight at them, and I'd be shooting and not hitting or I'd hit like this metal plate above it instead of the gun that was shooting at me. I'm like, I can't target at all because you only move on a flat plane, kind of around it in 360 degrees, but there are things above you and below you, and it auto targets things.
It does auto target, yeah.
And so some sort of targeting control, or just some sort of lock on that I could switch between would have been really, really nice.
I agree with that, but I didn't have a problem with it like you did.
Yeah.
I agree. I'd like to be able to like target.
Yeah.
I mean, who wouldn't? But it was easy for me.
We gotta add in that little barb at the end every time.
I'm just giving them crap.
Oh, I would have liked that, but I didn't have a problem because I'm not a fucking moron.
It did remind me of like the vehicle sequences in like the Batman Lego game.
Yeah.
Because there were also times where you had to pick up these special, basically missiles or whatever.
Yeah.
And that would trail behind the ship, and then that would show you what you're locked onto for those purple things, and then you could shoot them.
Yeah.
And finding the secret stuff, that was always fun.
Yeah. I really like that aspect to it, because then there was like things that were way out there that I'm like, crap, I got to get a different guy to get that, don't I? Because then that just opens up that whole thought that I got to replay this level again down
multiple
the road, multiple times.
The thing that impressed me though was just the environment seemed really intricate. Like I think it seemed like they went. I don't know if it's beyond what I've seen before for detail, but it just seemed like it was really detailed and looked really awesome.
Harry Potter was awesome.
What was it? Yeah, I
So
never
I think
played
they
that.
kind of like stepped up their game at that point.
I think so. Yeah. So I was really impressed with that, at least in terms of comparing to like the old Star Wars games.
Yeah.
It was way above those.
Yeah.
What is the story that this is based on?
It's based on the Cartoon Network series.
Yeah.
Okay, so is it following that series?
Well, the first,
like it does the movies.
It sounds like
so.
Because of the first 2 that are labeled are, I think, the first 2 episodes of the cartoon, and they're labeled that the rise and fall of that ship is the Malevolence or whatever. It's
Although
called.
weren't they out of order?
They are out of order.
Because the first level you play is like the fall of it.
Yeah.
And then the other level that you play is like the rise. I'm like, am I playing as the bad guys instead? I thought maybe it would be a villain level or something. I don't know.
Well, you could choose between which one to play.
Oh, you could?
I thought you could.
I thought it just threw me in.
Go to the second one right off the bat.
Oh,
because one was a flying and the other one was just the platform type one. But yeah, they're labeled the titles of the show, so I'm assuming that they're the first series at least.
Okay.
So
I would guess so.
I didn't know what there was content-wise, like as far as amount of content.
Yeah.
Enough, obviously, to make the game.
Well, they said,
full?
they said like 20 some levels or more than that. They said it's like the biggest Star Wars game that they've
And that
done.
platforming level was pretty lengthy, especially going back and forth between the two characters.
Which I really, because then that makes you take some time, especially with all the collectibles and things like that, and looking around, and then now you've got to worry about not worry. I mean, it's essentially the same level, but you're like thinking now you've got 2 levels to 1. I like that aspect and be able to switch on the fly like that. And then I was like, well, wait, I'm not done with, I thought I was done with one of the characters. So I'm like, well, now I got to get them to them. And it was pretty sweet.
I always love me some Lego games. I think that's coming this month too.
Yeah,
in the next couple of weeks.
I wouldn't be
Yikes.
surprised.
I didn't see that many building. I like to build stuff.
Big month.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of building
Yeah.
in the demo part,
Yeah.
but if it's the first couple levels, maybe that's just not something that's accentuated early on.
The noise they make. It's like, tick, 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 tick. I like that noise.
That is fun. That's it for me.
All right.
It's all you guys now.
Is it?
I'm just going to take a nap over here.
I'm ready. Don't take a nap, Dick Punch.
Dick punch.
That was a failure.
Dick punch.
That was pretty much straight out of the game, so you're calling the game a failure.
Dick punch?
Probably.
Punch.
See, you don't know for certain.
Was there a Dick Punch
I
in
think
there?
there was a dick punch.
All right,
in
there
there.
But was it used as a noun or a verb?
Probably both.
Probably both at the same time.
Probably both, and probably
It
a
doesn't
proper
make sense
noun.
to call a person a dick punch, though.
I know.
Well, then let's not talk about what this game does that makes sense then.
Knob Goblin.
How about some Bulletstorm?
How about it?
Let's talk about how the dialogue makes sense.
I got pulled into multiplayer.
I'm just making fun of you
something
because it
fierce
took you
on that
like
game.
a while to come up with it.
What, Dick Punch?
Yeah.
I know. I'm not very smart.
She wanted to dial it down a little bit.
What do you think of the game?
I liked it.
Sean?
I liked it a lot. I had a lot of fun with it. I think the multiplayer really opened it up for me.
Not past tense. You still like it. right?
Yeah. But the campaign, it almost put it on hold once I really started getting into multiplayer and seeing, like, having the fun of that game until you get. It's more like a horde mode, the multiplayer. Notice I skipped over the campaign a little bit. We can touch back.
Is this going to be Red Faction Guerrilla for you?
A
Again?
little. I think it's become that a little bit because I was pretty hardcore on the campaign at first, but then once we got into the multiplayer some more and I got to play it some more and realizing, especially when I started playing with friends and people that can communicate with each other.
I think it's pretty much impossible outside of that.
Exactly, and that's why when the first couple times I played multiplayer on it and we would get to those high levels and we kept failing, and then I realized this is why, because no one's talking and no one's working on this teamwork and no one's working together to get these combos. Once that whole element came about the game, I thought that was genius and fun, and it really changes it up.
Because how the anarchy mode works is that you have a score target that you have to meet to clear that wave.
Yeah.
So the more skill shots you do, the more points you get, which increases your total team score, which then you get past the level. So as you increase up to like wave 10, 15, it doesn't just mean you can kill everybody. You have to start doing creative things to kill people to get higher amounts of points.
Right.
Comboing up on them. So, somebody else will kick them, you shoot them, and then you get like a combo point for that. There are a couple enemies that'll show up throughout the rounds that'll be highlighted in like this blue light.
Yeah.
And they'll have a team challenge associated with it, and it'll have a name of the skill shot. And so if you team do that, so like bullet kick, so somebody kicks him and then somebody else shoots him and he dies before he hits the ground, you get 500 bonus points. So, I mean, those things become necessary. It's not just like a bonus. It's like you have to do it.
Yeah.
And then in between rounds for Anarchy, you can upgrade. They'll do the little hot spots, whatever they're called. I can't remember.
Yeah. They're drop ships, yeah.
Well, you basically hit your leash button and you go in there and you can spend any of the points that you've earned between the rounds upgrading your abilities, upgrading your weapons, things like that. So increasing your speed and your attack.
Which really changed up too, because as I was early on when I was playing, I started upgrading my attack, and then I was like, well, crap, I'm killing these guys a lot faster and a lot quicker, and I'm not getting the combos and I'm not getting the points.
And that's where I think that there's a problem with that Anarchy game system.
Yeah.
Because it's almost counterbalance. And maybe I'm clearly not understanding how it works, because you upgrade your abilities like your power and you become more powerful, you kill people faster. I didn't notice that they were like increasing the like toughness of the enemies.
Some of the enemies became tough.
Well, they give you bosses.
Yeah.
But we were taking down bosses faster.
Yeah.
So it's not like they were beefing up the guys and making them stronger. So now I'm like more powerful. So it's harder for me to set up something because I kill them instantly.
Yeah.
And so you don't get as many points. So it's like a counterbalance thing where it's like you get a ton of points at the beginning because, you know, it takes a lot of stuff and you can play around with people and get a lot of points.
Yeah.
And then towards the end, you're powered up and you're killing everybody and you're not scoring hardly at all.
What I ended up doing is just I spent more money on my leash and like my speed and my defense, but that was it. And I never boosted up power. I never boosted up anything. And I used the money to buy weapons that I didn't use, or I used it to just buy more ammo.
Right.
But I found out I wasn't
weird.
using the ammo that much either. And I really like that aspect about the game.
Yeah, it sounds pretty cool to me. I mean, kind of taking the focus off of just need more power to kill faster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then it's like, why even like, here's what I guess I wish.
Well, you might maybe somebody on the team is your power shooter.
And then he ruins everything.
Team strategy. No, I mean, but then you set it up so that everybody else is kind of setting up shots and he's finishing them off or something like that.
Yeah,
I mean, if you extend it to team strategy as opposed to just single character strategy,
because that would be the guy that'd be the guy you want to, like, especially in like a bullet kick. You kick them and you got to kill them before they get killed otherwise with a bullet. So therefore, you get that guy with the bigger power to take him out and shoot him.
Maybe you could have like a team of leash guys that are flipping people around or something.
And that's what it came out to be. It was like, and then, you know, and I really like too is like the environment is, you know, there's things in the environment that also kill people. You know, like plants.
Right.
And like a skeleton mouth that chews on people. And like, you know.
And then, you know, we were on the junkyard one that I can't remember the name of the level, but it had that the man crush thing in the middle, like the vehicle crusher.
Yeah.
And so somebody would kick somebody on the other side.
Yeah.
I would stand on the other side of it, leash them when they were in the air,
and then kind of
pull
whip
them through. So you get the bonus points for the thing killing them.
Yeah.
But then you also get the bonus points for being a team thing. So we were getting massive amounts of
points. Because it's like 100, I think it's 150, like just for regular.
Right.
And then it goes up to either 300 or 250.
So all I did was stand on that other side, wait for people to fly through the air and leash them. And so we were getting tons of points that way. But then it's like that was the only thing that we did.
Sure.
And so that's like, I don't know. I'm really torn on that anarchy mode. I think it's fun.
Yeah.
But I think you also need to have 4 completely competent people that like know exactly what to do. Because we were even running into a situation where we were playing a couple nights ago, and the mini bosses were getting like defeated or whatever, and then like our third person was just shooting them every time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you need to whip that guy because you need to get the points, otherwise he's just dying and you're not getting. So it's like, I don't know. I found getting frustrated once in a while.
Well,
trying to get
it
above.
definitely requires more teamwork.
Tons of teamwork.
Than, a lot of other. I mean, with other first-person shooters, you can really kind of go commando on in a lot of situations.
I think what I would maybe like, and we talked about this, was being able to remove your bonuses that you've done. So like if you've increased your power at the beginning, like now maybe you could get those back even at half the points, or just like reduce it so you could put those into somewhere else.
Right, that would be cool.
You know, I would like to be able to manage that, I guess.
Sure.
That would be better, in my opinion.
Now I have a question for you guys since I didn't play it, obviously.
Yes.
Oh.
We are fielding questions.
So, you know, you guys have mentioned that anarchy was fun, and I'm trying to gauge where the fun is here. And so is it that same sort of fun that I had with Red Faction Guerrilla, where it's that chaos of things other than the battle necessarily, you know, where, you know, in Red Faction Guerrilla it would be like buildings exploding and crazy stuff happening there, but here instead of building, it's more like the people exploding.
Yeah, a little bit. I find that it's definitely going to get old for me. I don't think that there's a longevity for me for this mode. I think that after a while it's just going to be you're doing the same thing over and over and over, because it is just a finite number of things that you're doing.
Sure.
And it's really the same thing after round after round. But the couple of times that I've played it, it was a blast. And it's fun to like leash after a guy because there's just guys running everywhere. And so when there's 3 or 4 of you on the map just running around with them, it's funny to leash a guy and then somebody across the map is also doing it and you didn't know. And then there's like one of the skill shots is a tug of war and it basically it pulls them apart. And so it's kind of funny when you're pulling them towards you, and then your friend like does it, and like it yanks them away from you, and they explode. Yeah, and then you laugh.
Well, that was the
chaos jackass moment.
Yeah, I had those experience where like I pulled a guy towards me, and I'm going to kick him, and then he exploded. I mean, and the whole screen is just red, and I'm like, I didn't even push the button yet because someone from afar took him out. Right. And
or I'm walking across, and there's because how you played the demo, when you leash a guy or when you kick them, they kind of go into a slow motion for a second. You get a couple seconds. Yeah. So that's how you set up the team stuff. Yeah. So I've even been walking across, and all of a sudden a guy kind of goes in slow motion in front of me because somebody else. So then I just kick him. Yeah. And so the guy who was pulling him, now it's kicked the other way. Yeah. And I kick him into a wall or something. So I mean, it's fun. Yeah. There's a lot of chaos going on.
Yeah. I those early rounds I really think are fun because it's like by the time you've already kind of cleared and you've still got like 15 other enemies to clear out, and you've already made your points, so then it just becomes like, then it's like fun, and you're just like grabbing someone. There's been like times where people are getting grabbed left and right, back and forth, and they won't even fall down yet, and it's just.
And that night we played 4-player, there was a couple of rounds where we were missing the point target. Yeah. And we did it like 3 times, and then like the 4th time we did it, we beat the skill point thing like by 10,000 points. Because it's like once you focus, and you really can start like changing how it happens.
There's a large level of strategy involved.
Oh, it's like a puzzle game. Yeah. It becomes a strategy game. Yeah. Of like point based.
Yeah. Big thanks to Coach Bucks 50 because he
Bucks 50.
He was there and was able
changed it.
He was able to like like at first knowing what to do was a little bit like the bullet kicks and slide kicks and all that stuff was a little bit hard to try to figure out, but then when you got him in your ear going, okay, now you got to do this and do this, and it
you can also hit the back button when those pop up and they tell you what you need to do to complete it. So
but I don't do that stuff.
Well, not when there's somebody else there to do it.
Exactly. Instructions? What? No.
Exactly.
That's why you get somebody else on that does that. And then he just tells us what to do.
And then we do it and steal his kills. I won't.
It's a teamwork.
Yeah, so now, that aside, how about the main campaign?
I've been enjoying the campaign. I've been liking it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I thought it was okay. I played through the whole thing. It's not a purchase game for me. It's a completely rental. I did have fun with Anarchy, but I think it is timed, like, as far as, like, I think I would get tired of it after a while. Sure. I mean, there is that level up aspect to it, so we want to continually level up. Yeah. So that is a drive, but I think at some point I would just get bored with it. Playing through the campaign, it was... I don't know. It was okay. I was worried about the dialogue, and that completely was there. My concern was validated for me, which was just is so over the top and so annoying. And some of the I hate the bad guy that's in the game, like the villain. Yeah, I fucking hate him. And not like you're supposed to hate him. Like, I think it's just annoying. Like, I want to punch him in the face because I want him to shut the fuck up. Do you know what I mean? I know he's not a real person.
You want to punch him in the dick?
I do want to punch him in the dick. That probably there was only one mention of taint, by the way, in the whole game. It was a little disappointing.
Were you expecting more?
Oh, yeah, I was expecting a ton.
Ton of taint.
So here's what I wasn't expecting about the game, though, the dialogue over the top. And I know we made jokes about the scare the dick off you, and everybody made jokes about that after the E3 stuff last year. Sure. I wasn't expecting the game to basically replace 10% of any written dialogue with the word dick. Which it does.
There's a lot of dick in that.
And it's nonsensical. And here's what you can't do in a game, just for future reference. You can't have your main character replace half the words he says with dick, all of a sudden react to somebody else doing the same thing as, what does that even mean?
Because that's who he is.
Because that's what you've done the entire beginning part of the game. So when you run into somebody and she says, I'm going to kill your dicks, and you go, kill your dicks? What does that mean? I don't know. You've said stupid bullshit for 3 hours now.
Maybe he was taking it seriously. He's like...
He was.
He's like... You mean seriously you're going to do that? I was just kidding back there.
Maybe he was like completely
maybe
like,
he's worried.
Floored that
he's
a
worried
girl
that
was speaking that way.
Yeah, because she was upstaging him.
I don't know. It was annoying to me.
He's the best there is at what he does.
No, he's totally Wolverine.
I know.
That's what I called him.
He is Wolverine.
Now, I heard.
Does he pop claws at the end?
Yes. Spoiler. No, he doesn't.
I heard there are these big
spoiler. Now I know he doesn't.
Almost epic moments as well in terms of through the campaign.
Okay, so there's where the game is awesome. Yeah. Because there are huge action sequence moments that are a ton of fun. Yeah. And those are a blast. And So dialogue aside, you can put, and I will say that the voice acting is good.
Yeah,
Sure.
It's just I didn't like the dialogue.
Sure.
Like I thought it was trying way too hard.
See, it just after a while, it doesn't even affect me anymore. I don't know what it is.
Doesn't that speak to the problem though?
No, not really.
Because it becomes like
I ran the game. I bought the game for
You did
more.
buy the game.
I bought the game for more of visually wise and just the action. And it's just I love the constant, like the sound, everything that's in it. I enjoy, and I think the dialogue, like any other game for me, sits backstage unless it's like all of a sudden it stops the action and the story's going, and then it's like a story's progressing. But other than that, like people talking while I'm playing, usually it goes over
and
my
that's
head.
just our different experiences with playing games.
Yeah, because
I want that whole thing happening.
And
too.
that's why I always have a problem with some games where I get lost and don't know what to do because
not
they're telling
listening.
me what to do, but
Right.
I'm not paying attention
That's
to
true.
what they're saying, because that's always been like a background to me in any game, because I just always felt like that should be a background. It should be what's in front of you and not having to pay attention to what people are telling me. That's why Call of Duty and me don't really ever see eye to eye, because they'll tell me where people are at.
Yeah. All I gotta say is I survived Deadly Premonition dialogue. I think you should be able to survive anything after that.
I know, and it's not that I'm a prude. I mean, seriously, listen to me. But it loses effectiveness in my opinion.
You know, this seems like it's mimicking that scene you were just talking about there. What does that even mean?
I know exactly. I'm my own problem.
I just think it's over the top for over the top sakes across the board when it comes to the action, when it comes to the shooting.
Context.
I rarely ran out of bullets, and a lot of times I'm just had my hand that's all I was doing.
I would run out of bullets all the time. Now you do have to buy ammo a bunch, and I didn't expect that going into the game. I thought you were going to be picking up a ton, but it's more that you're spending your points on buying ammo at those drop points.
And then it really kind of changes up your gameplay, and then you really start to have to like get those combos to try to get more points. So that you can buy more bullets.
And what happens is you realize that you have to spend points on bullets, so you're going to want to shoot less, and then you do other things. So I do like that it ingrained that into you, because it becomes more inventive and experimental. And I like that a lot.
Which I think multiplayer, me diving back into the campaign, is going to help, because I've spent a lot of time in the multiplayer where I've had to, depend on like the tether and or the leash or whatever you want to call it.
And I love the way that they're hidden, because you have a list of skill shots, and they have question marks by them.
I see.
And so some aren't available at the beginning, and they'll open up when you get other weapons or when you do other things. And a lot of times they say what to do, but they don't, give a name for what it is until you do it. And then it's like new, and it says the cute name, like rear entry or gag reflex or something sexually related, which most of them are.
Nom nom nom. I like that one.
However, I had a problem.
Sorry.
I had a problem with some of them are kind of difficult.
Yeah.
And they should be, because you're getting points for them. But there are some that you do, or when you do it, and if you die, it doesn't save you doing it, which is kind of annoying to me, because there is a risk / reward with some of those where it's kind of hard to pull these off, and so you're rewarded heavily for it. But sometimes doing that means that you're more likely or more susceptible to being killed. So risking that and then failing, you should still get credit for like doing it, in my opinion. But
how's the checkpoint system? Because I'm guessing that's based on checkpoints then.
There is checkpoint systems, and if anything you do in between those doesn't get saved.
That's what I'm figuring.
So that's the problem.
I mean, are they fairly frequent?
They are
Decently frequent?
They're not too bad.
They're good, but they're usually right before a big group of people and then right after. So when you're shooting people and like doing some of this goofy stuff, that's when, if you die in that combat because you're trying to do goofy stuff, then you're penalized almost.
There needs to be an auto
penalized.
There needs to be an auto save on top of the checkpoint. Like an auto save that saves after you.
I just wish it would save the skill shots.
Yeah.
And what it does is it has the name, but it doesn't have a check mark by you completing it. So I don't know if. I think it still doesn't give you credit as far as doing it. I think it unlocks the name, and that stays on there.
It's all about skill. You can't just do it and then die. You got to do it and survive.
Fuck that.
Because they're difficult.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that in the dick.
And I really like
the
slide
That's
aspect of. There's a slide to it, which I really enjoy, because that was like one of my favorite things about Vanquish was like the slide and shoot.
It kind of felt like Vanquish a little bit, sliding around.
Yeah, and you get that slide going on. I thought that was cool. And then that also affects when you go through when you hit people and it knocks them up in the air and hitting the thumper. I mean, there's some really, I really dig the game just because of the visuals, just the gameplay, the action, the fighting.
I didn't like any of the characters until I actually liked Trishka, the girl.
Trishka, yeah.
I like her a lot.
Yeah.
Like, for me, there's something about, I was not expecting that, obviously. I thought that she was even going to be worse on top of the, like, male dudes. Like their stereotypes.
Right,
like I thought she was going to be even worse in that way.
Because she's a woman.
Well, I thought that they were going to just totally do it
like over the top.
like dicks.
Yeah.
No, like I mean that actually this time.
What does that even mean?
I don't know. But they actually made her almost like the best character in the game, which I love.
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
Yeah.
That she's like the sensible one and like the smart one and like just I don't know, she's a really good female character, I think.
Yeah. I like from the very get-go, you do like kind of a backstory in the campaign, which I thought was really nice. And there's some things that aren't involved yet. And this world that they go to is, I mean, I haven't finished the game yet, but the world that they go to is fun. There's some neat things involved with it. Visually wise, I think it's a beautiful place.
See, here's the thing. We were talking about the big
daytime.
aspect. Like that is the other thing. It's really bright.
Yeah.
You know, Craig, you talk about those games like getting down, you know, as far as like the gray, the brown.
I liked that in the demo a lot.
This is so bright.
Yeah.
And the places you go to, that city, that planet that you're on, the backgrounds are just amazing looking.
Yeah.
Like the scopes that you have and some of those shots, I think the backgrounds look awesome. But then it's got that Gears problem for me where if you kind of look at the ground,
Oh yeah,
things look like shit because it's like everything's like really flat looking. So like when you're close up, it kind of doesn't look that great.
Yeah.
But from far away, everything looks fucking amazing.
Yeah.
That's good.
So, but I kind of felt some of the stuff was flat up front, but it had that epic feel to me.
yeah.
Cool.
Epic company, not epic huge.
I really
I mean, like Gears.
I was really, really happy with my
Confusing.
purchase.
Good.
I mean, very, very
Excellent.
satisfied, and I'm not like just saying that. I actually
You are just saying it.
I'm really
No,
yeah.
I know. But then on top of those, they also have that Echoes mode, which I didn't get to play around with too much, which is just those big fight sequences that you basically are going for a high score.
And I thought that was really neat, the aspect to throw in, especially some of those sequences are really fun.
It's a neat way to replay key events without having to go through and like sludge through the boring parts and the story. And if you just want to go through and it's like, it's basically a best of.
Yeah.
Go through those and you play all the big fights of the game.
Yep.
Cool.
And there's a ton of those.
Yeah.
20, 30 some.
So that was a neat
you go.
neat little addition to it, and yeah, but it is totally Wolverine. I mean, hair, voice, everything.
It's a fun game.
Yeah.
I had fun, but it just audio wise, it got a little old for me. But I was expecting that. But I had fun with it as a short
You
experience.
didn't hate it as much as you wanted to.
I didn't want to hate it.
I'm kidding.
No, you're not.
Yeah, I am.
I really wanted to hate it. No, I didn't. No, but I think it was the right spot for a rental for me,
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
personally.
Speaking of tropical environments and things like that,
You're leaving?
the footage. Yes. See you all later. No, actually, see you all never. No, I'm talking about the footage of Missplosion Man
Oh,
gameplay that came out and how they're talking about how like it's changing environments and I looked at that. I am super pumped for that game. It's
gonna be awesome.
Because it is not just isn't Mr. Explosion Man. That's what I tried to call it there. It is not just Explosion Man with a skin over the top of it.
Right.
They have really done a lot of development on it, and I am impressed.
it's exciting.
Yes, very exciting.
And I saw more video of that Gunstringer too, which looks awesome.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
saw the gameplay video. I'm like, that does look awesome.
that live action stuff that they have in there in
Yeah.
that theater.
Yes.
A couple weeks ago they did a casting call.
Yeah,
for
I
people.
remember hearing about that.
That would have been awesome to make it to.
Yeah, exactly.
They were looking for people to fill that theater.
Yeah.
They showed some of the stuff for that Double Fine Sesame Street game too.
I didn't get to look at that.
Which looks like it's. I mean, it looks like it's more of a kids-based game.
Totally.
But it really, I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, the look of it and the design characters were cool, and the story it sounds really neat. So.
And Double Fine announced their next XBLA
Trenches?
game. Yeah.
Did you get to watch that
I
footage?
did not watch it yet.
There's some pretty cool moments, at least in the footage, and it looks like it's going to be fun.
cool.
Should be interesting.
Yeah.
It's like a little news section here at the end. What we're looking
Things we're
forward
looking
to.
forward to. The news segment or previews.
It's like in the back of the comic when they do the coming
Yes.
soon.
Yeah.
And it's like little shots
in the
of
next
things.
year. Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Oh, is that it, gentlemen?
That is it.
That's it.
Are y'all dicked out?
No, never. What are you talking about? Come on. Jeez, come on.
Are we copying each other over here, Craig?
Yeah,
True.
Jeez.
we are.
All right. Signed in
We're impersonating
podcast.com.
each other now.
Oh, you know what? Before I plug our stuff, I want to give us a little shout out to a friend of the show who runs the Pixelated Sausage website.
Yeah.
Pixelatedsausage.com.
That sounds like a dick reference.
It is, I believe. But you can talk to him about that. Who did a little one-panel comic of Insult Ninja for us.
Yes, that's right.
Well, for himself, but based on our show.
Yes, he's become obsessed with Insult Ninja.
And that is awesome. So check out pixelatedsausage.com to see that little comic, and it's very funny.
It is very funny.
Insult Ninja. Making the rounds.
Very cool.
When you least expect it,
Exactly.
he just shows up.
That's right. Out of nowhere.
What a dick. All right. So then our website is signedinpodcast.com. You can find our link to our Twitter feed, our Facebook fan page, all of our past episodes, our forums, all the other pseudo radio shows, and everything else we normally say, which I think is everything I just said.
I think so.
I just run the same script every time. You can email us comments at signedinpodcast.com. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes.
Please have your emails full of dick references. That would be great. Mm-hmm. Following Bulletstorm. Write me and tell me how I'm a baby for wanting to save my skill shot after I do it instead of just getting more better. Just write me and tell me to be more better at the game.
I don't think you're being a baby. I think that's a pretty.
No, I am.
I think that's a pretty. I think that's a pretty good argument.
I don't think so. I fully recognize me being a baby about it because the idea of it is to get good, to be good.
Right.
And so, it should save it automatically for you? What's the skill in that?
Nah, I think it should shave it automatically.
It's all skill based.
I know, exactly.
Save it.
You
Not
should shave it automatically.
You shave it automatically.
Wow. I hope that's not a dick reference.
Always.
Next episode, we'll have more Torchlight.
Yep.
Yeah.
Beyond Good and Evil.
Yeah.
I'm looking to get that this week and play that. I might finally open my copy of Dead Rising 2 that I bought like 3 months ago. Maybe get some of that.
What?
I know, right? I'm an
my
idiot.
I
God.
think I'm gonna get some indie.
I haven't had
indie
time.
games
Just
in.
break into your house and steal stuff. You wouldn't even notice it was gone.
I got to get the XBLA thing first. The pre.
Got to do it in order, huh?
Correct. Even though I've already rented and played part of it. What'd you say? You have to do
Eye
what?
candy and Office Affairs.
You're not playing either of those.
I'm not gonna.
That's what happened to me. I looked at indie games and I was like, oh, fuck this.
Yeah,
There's like 2 or 3.
I know,
But that's all I saw when I looked,
see,
so I stopped.
I checked it the other
Don't be
day,
those
and they
people.
I was.
exactly, but they added a bunch of newer ones, but those were like right off the bat, and it's just like, oh, great.
It was a
Thanks.
bad reaction from me. I understand that.
Yeah.
I normally don't have it. Come on.
Yeah.
Look at we talked about like 27 indie games last episode. We still got a good sample of them this time.
Yeah, something like that.
We're representing as best we can.
Present.
What?
XBLIG up in this.
How are you going to do a gang sign for that?
XBLIG.
That's going to be really difficult.
It's this.
Those are middle fingers.
Oh, never mind. Let's leave, everybody.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.
If you are receiving this transmission, this has been a pseudo radio production. Repeat, this has been a pseudo radio production, copyright 2011.